Names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized during new business. The chairperson will limit discussions of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order for the board to expeditiously conduct its business. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Dorgan. This evening we will have several recognitions and a very special presentation that will be provided to us by the Lego Girls. At this time, for our presentations and our recognitions, I want to ask Mr. Restivo to come up to the podium to start with the first recognition.
Good evening. I want to take this opportunity to thank our Board of Education for their continued support for all of our student athletes here in East Islip, and to our superintendent and assistant superintendents for all of their support as well. Thank you. This gives me great honor to introduce and recognize 2 teams here in the district. And the first team that we're going to recognize are a few of our varsity boys swimmers and Coach Chicalone. So Coach Chicalone and our varsity boys swimmers, can you please come up?
Thank you, Mr. Restivo. Thank you for the board for having us here to honor these exceptional swimmers who definitely showcased their talent this year at the state level. Their hard work, dedication in the water has truly set them apart. This year, we finished second in our league, League One. We finished second overall in the county, Suffolk County. We broke 9 school records, or 9 team records, 3 of which were relays. In those 3 relays, we were all Long Island, which means we were the top 3 team between Nassau and Suffolk County in the 200 free, and we were the #1 relay team in the 400 freestyle relay, #1. This year we had 2 all-league qualifiers or participants. We had 7 all-county, 4 all-state, and we had 4 Long Island honors, and we crowned 4 county champions in the 100 fly and the 400 freestyle relay. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce, I'll start with Braden Black. He was our state qualifier in the 200 freestyle relay and 50 freestyle. He was in our 400 freestyle relay, which was all state and all Long Island. Next up, we have Carter Jones. He was our state qualifier in the 200 medley relay, and he also received all county honors in that relay. Next up, we have Jack Milligan. Jack was a state qualifier in the 50 free, 100 free. He was part of our 200 free and our 400 freestyle relay, which were county champions. He was all county, all state. He was all Long Island, and he was part of our 200 free, 200 medley, and 400 freestyle team record teams. So very proud. And Braden was also part of our 400 freestyle record breaker. And Max Schwan, who's not here tonight, he was a state qualifier in the 200 medley relay. He was all county in the 400 freestyle relay, and he was part of the county championship 400 freestyle relay. So to say I'm proud of these young men would be a true understatement. Their hard work, dedication, definitely represented East Islip Connecticut in the highest level. So congratulations, gentlemen. You guys got a step stool?
Now I would like to introduce Danny Barbarito and the East Islip varsity hockey team to please come up here and be recognized in front of the Board of Education.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to Mr. Manzo, Mr. Harrison, Dr. Bells, Dr. O'Rourke for bringing us here tonight and acknowledging the amazing run these students had. A special thank you to Ms. Parker for all your hard work and especially dealing with me. To the Board of Ed, you are such a big part of us as you have contributed to the success of this team and our club. Thank you for all of your support. Former Superintendent, Mr. Dolan, I know you're not here, but all the love and support over the years, we appreciate you. I'd be remiss not to mention former board member Phil Montori, who has been with East Islip Hockey from the beginning and still yells at me like he did 27 years ago. To the coaches, the parents, and you, the community, this journey wouldn't be what it is without you. The time and effort put forth by each and every one of you, and every day to support, and most importantly, pay, was it worth every penny. To the players, I look at you in those red jerseys, and I know you are special. You captured a goal, and a goal of this club, and a dream of all the players who came before you. You have sparked a fire in this community. Kids want to be just like you. A while back, I was watching some of these young kids skating at the rink, and they were doing play-by-play. And I hear Anatra skates over the line, makes a move, passes to Ivers, shoots, saved by Dixon. I laughed. And I laughed very hard because we all know Ryan Anatra doesn't pass. But it was you who created this fire and desire. All because you represented the crest on the front of that jersey, you honored the name on the back, and you played for the guy next to you. We are all proud of you. You're New York State Amateur Hockey State Champions, USA Hockey D2 Nationals runner-up, and you are ranked #2 in the country. Congratulations, boys. I'm very proud. My first time, I'm a little scared. Before you leave, I got something for you. Hold on, Mr. Manzo.
Thank you. Very nice.
Want me to hand them out? Parents are good with pictures? Parents, you can take pictures. Ryan Anatra. Robert Dixon. Jack Dolson. Liam Godbout. Thomas Ivers. Luke LaFada. Evan LaFada. Christopher Lawler. Jack McGarry. Corey McGovern. to my paisan, Anthony Marizito. All right, boys.
One more picture, one more
One more picture?
Yep, yep.
Show your certificate.
Explain it, explain it.
Ready to go, boy.
Congrats.
Yes, kid, we're Mexican after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Restivo, and congratulations to our student athletes. At this time, our next presentation, we wanted to share the journey of 3 JFK students, Antonia Reza, Sonali Kamath, and Jane Elliott, also known as the Lego Girls. These young ladies have entered the very competitive world of robotics, and through hard work and dedication, they have been through many adventures, which has led them to the first Lego Championship. These young ladies have made a tremendous impact on the community and have certainly put us on the first Lego map and raised the bar for EI. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kamath. He is a gentleman who has been instrumental in coaching and guiding the team. He, along with other community members, have devoted an endless number of hours in supporting these young ladies, and we thank you for your support. Coach?
Thank you. So, the story begins with the 3 JFK students. Hello, ladies. Taking a chance on joining the first LEGO League Challenge tournament. It's an annual competition that takes place across Long Island. And the team has been doing this for the past 2 years. And 2 years in, the Lego girls have competed against hundreds of teams. And every year for the past 2 years, they've brought home gold. Come on. So before the girls' presentation, I want to give you a 30-second snippet of what the girls' robotics has been all about. And Tex, if you can play that video. So the Lego girls came home with 2 trophies. First place in robot design, second place in robot performance. But the story is not just about robotics. Often you'll hear this is a robotics competition, but the competition heavily emphasizes real-world skills such as problem solving, teamwork, and presentation. So what does that mean? That means, can the team research, can they understand what an issue is? Can they identify an issue? Can they research that issue? Can they speak to experts about that issue? Can they find a solution to it? Can they iterate on that solution? And then finally, can they present on that topic in an engaging and informative way? And so, robotics aside, the innovation project is what the team has been working on as part of the competition. And they decided this year to research an issue closer to home. And so they have about a 5-minute skit to share with the board and the community.
Hello, Board of Education members and community. I'm Antonia.
I'm Sonali. And I'm Jane.
And we are Team 55925, the Lego Girls.
We're 10 years old and we go to JFK. We're going to 5th grade JFK Elementary School.
We met in Girl Scouts, and this is our 3rd year in the first Lego League program and our 2nd year in Challenge League.
And we're going to jump right into our innovation project. And what we're trying to cover in this presentation is something called talent hesitation, which is the act of being too afraid to sign up or try out for something because you feel like you might not do as well as your peers or you might not be perfect on the first try. On to you, Sonali.
So we wanted to know if talent hesitation was in fact a real problem. So we gave a survey to the entire 5th grade of JFK Elementary School, and we asked them 3 simple yes or no questions. The first question was, have you ever joined an activity in or outside of school? The second question was, have you ever wanted to join an activity but felt too nervous to sign up or try? And the third question was, have you ever quit an activity because you felt that you weren't doing as well as your peers? So we gathered our data and here are results. We learned 3 things. Number 1, 90% of the students have joined an activity in and outside of school. The second thing that we learned is that 44% of the students, which is almost half the students, have felt too nervous to sign up or try an activity. And the third thing that we learned is that 24% of the students, which is almost a quarter of the students, have quit an activity because they felt like they weren't doing as well as their peers. On to you, Jane.
So we talked to the director of arts and music in our school district, Dr. Wadawa, and he told us 2 things. The first thing was about your family and friends supporting you if you make a mistake or in any sport or anything that you do. And the second thing was about growth mindset. And growth mindset is when you're okay with making a mistake and you tell yourself you can do it better next time.
So we talked to yet another expert, more specifically, the cast and crew of a local play called Into the Woods. And they gave us 2 bits of feedback. The first bit of feedback was to keep our feet firmly planted on the ground because fidgeting is distracting. And the second bit of feedback they gave us was to throw ourselves into our characters because when one of us made a mistake, we would laugh about it. On to you, Sonali.
So we talked to another expert. We talked to Miss Kim Sanders, who's the owner of our local dance studio. She gave us 2 bits of feedback. The first bit of feedback is to keep eye contact with your audience because that means that you can really connect with them. And the second bit of feedback she gave us is to speak loudly, to speak clearly, and to speak slowly. On to you, Jane.
So since we learned all those facts about talent hesitation, we wanted to share it with our community. So we decided we were going to share it to the Boy Scout Troop 327.
Their troop master thought that the boys would want to hear our solution to talent hesitation because scouting is a difficult journey. So we thought if we share our solution to talent hesitation, their journey wouldn't be so hard.
And we shared our presentation with them and we gave them each their own slaylet. And a slaylet is a silicone band with growth mindset charms and 3D printed bases. So when you put these all together, they're a slaylet, and we gave each Boy Scout a slaylet, and we're confident that it's going to help them on their scouting journey. So here's a picture of us with Troop 327, and all of us have a slaylet.
So we're going to show you another solution to our problem, which is talent hesitation. And we're going to be using our lucky song, Vogue. We would also like to give a shout out to Miss Di Maria for helping Sonali learn Vogue on the violin. It's okay, you got it. We believe in you.
Just look at your slaylet and everything will be okay.
Never give up.
hope that you know it's okay to make mistakes and you can do anything when you're surrounded by friends.
Thank you, LEGO Girls. And so finally, we want to share a big thank you, big kudos to the board for their creation of the JFK and RCK LEGO clubs that bring these activities and skills to more students, and to providing the resources and opportunities that contributed to the LEGO Girls' success. By continuing to support this initiative, we're empowering the next generation of innovators and leaders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, girl.
Great job.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Again, thank you to the LEGO Girls. You guys did a phenomenal job. Keep up the great work. We're looking forward to much success from you guys. Thank you. And now, what we've all been waiting for, it is our third budget presentation. Mr. Harrison will give us some great information. Mr. Harrison?
Thanks for the introduction, I appreciate it. Anyway, might ask one of the young ladies to come up, they do a better job than I can, but thank you.
Steve, you can do it.
So hopefully I'll get through this, but I want to thank everybody who got us to this point. It's certainly a collaborative effort. And thank you to the board for their support. Today is our third budget presentation. On the agenda for tonight's board meeting is the adoption of this budget. So I'll try to cover some of the more salient points, as you've seen most of this information before. So we're going to quickly review revenue. We'll talk about some of our budget accomplishments. And we have our appropriations budget up for adoption tonight. We're also going to discuss what happens if we don't have a community-approved budget, which means we'd be in contingency. We'll talk a little bit about the capital reserve and the remaining budget timeline. So as it stands tonight, the state budget is not yet approved. So the governor's budget includes a reduction in foundation aid of $3.2 million. However, what we're hearing is that we're expected to be funded at last year's foundation aid rates. So conceivably, what could happen in the next several days is that our state aid projection for next year is going to go up by approximately $3.3 million. But again, nothing's official at this point, and the state budget has not been passed as of earlier today. So the reason the budget was going down in state aid from the governor's budget was that the hold harmless provision was not included in the budget, which means any school district will not receive less state aid in the upcoming year as it received in the current year. And there's a formula, the foundation aid formula, that if it was working for East Islip would have us at a $6 million less in state aid. And if you look on this graph here towards 24-25, the governor was taking the first step in reducing our budget by $3.2 million, and then the following year we reduced by the same amount, totaling about $6.5 million. And the reason that this decrease was taking place was that enrollment has decreased in East Islip on a several-year trend going back in this graph as early as 2015-16. So where our enrollment numbers were up almost 1,000 students more than they are now, if the formula was allowed to run without the hold harmless provision, our state aid would decrease by the amount we talked about previously. Excuse me. In addition, the second graph on this page shows that the poverty factors in East Islip are less than they are statewide. So the foundation aid formula that's currently in place, two factors that are very major to that formula are enrollment and poverty. And again, decreases in enrollment and being below the state poverty level that would contribute to lower state aid for the school district. Now, as part of the eventual state budget, they're going to be reworking this formula, but the tagline that's come out is that the state doesn't want to pay for empty seats, meaning that if our enrollment's decreasing, we should see a decrease in state aid, not being kept at the same hold harmless rates that we've seen in the past. So going to the tax cap levy, each district has to work through this calculation, and our allowable tax levy limit is 3.48% above this year's tax levy. And there are contributing factors to why that's going up. Those factors include the tax-based growth factor, the pilot payments. So the district is no longer going to receive pilot payments. So that gives us the ability to actually increase our tax levy cap by $987,000, or 1.32%. So you can see that on the last line of this presentation here, the levy that's supporting the budget being adopted tonight is going up by 1.5%, which is 2% below the allowable cap, and barely accounts for the loss in the pilot payment that we're losing going into 24-25. So this chart reflects the potential tax levy limit and what the budget actually is being supported by. So again, this year the levy could have been as high as 3.48%, and you can see that we're going out with a 1.5% tax levy increase. Similar to last year, where the cap would have been 2.18%, we went out with a 1.4%. So as you look back in time, there's a definitive trend here of being below the allowable tax levy limit. That does come at a cost, and if you look at 24-25, our levy could have been $77.3 million. However, based upon a 1.5% increase, that levy is going to be $75.8 million. So there's roughly $1.5 million not being utilized as per the tax cap calculation. So if you look at this over time, each time a district makes a decision not to go to the tax levy cap, it's foregoing that amount of money, and it compounds itself year after year. So instead of having a levy of 75.8, if we went to the cap every year going back to 15-16, our tax levy could have been as high as $86.5 million. So going into next year and the following year, our new base tax levy is $75.8 million. So those funds are indeed cumulative, compounding, and lost forever by being below the cap. Excuse me. So the impact on the average homeowner is a $119 increase annually for the support of a 1.5% tax levy. And as you can see, over the past number of years, we've been very low. And if you look at from 13-14 to now, our tax levy for school purposes is up $400, but that's over a 10-year, 11-year period. So on the revenue side of the budget, the levy is the largest percentage contribution for the budget at 60%. The next highest category is state aid at 30%. And then to be able to go out with a 1.5% levy and maintain support for the current budget, we're appropriating 8.9 from reserves or savings. You all have the presentation, so take a look at these accomplishments and initiatives when you have the opportunity. Obviously, we're very proud of everything we've done to this point with everyone's support. So to get to today's budget, we did reduce the first draft of the budget by $1.4 million, or 1.15%. We had some reductions in staff based upon enrollment projections and retirements, however, not impacting the program. And because there's a time lag between the first and second draft of the budget, we had more information that be made available to us, so we were able to make reductions based upon that, as well as some reductions in buildings and grounds, equipment and project budgets, some of which we were able to accomplish with this year's budget. So turning to the appropriations budget, the first slide talks about salary and benefits. And as you can see, salary and benefits are going up $1.9 million, or 2%. And the majority of that is going up in the area of benefits, specifically medical, TRS, and ERS contributions. And that's being offset by the reductions we talked about just a few minutes ago in staffing between the teachers and clerical staff, as well as some retirements that have taken place being replaced by lower salaried individuals. We were also able to make some reductions in the custodial line, even though that's going up 0.4%. We looked at some overtime trends, and we were able to reduce budgets in that category. So overall, with salary and benefits, we're going up at 2%. Next slide talks about the remaining categories, and you see some fluctuations going on there. When you put them together with the first slide, the budget increase is 0.23%, or slightly over $292,000. So overall, the spending plan for next year is going up $292,000, or 0.23%. Let me just take a look at a couple of things here. On the transportation line, you see that's going down. That's based upon more recent trends, as well as the ability to share transportation with other districts. So instead of sending 2 buses to the same location, we may have a situation where our neighboring districts are going to the same spot, and we're on 1 bus and we share that cost accordingly. The utilities are decreasing primarily due to the energy performance contract and the solar program that we initiated several years ago. The insurance line, just to give you some context there, is going up, and that's mainly because of increases due to claims made against the education industry as a whole with the Child Victims Act, and also with weather-related incidences that are being more numerous as well as more severe, so the premiums are reflecting that. So the next 2 slides is just another way to look at the same information. What I would just point out is that close to 75% of our budget, as is with most schools, is relating to salary and benefits. And here are the remaining categories that you can take a look at. Very small impact towards the budget, but in total 25%. So May 21st is our budget vote. Should the budget be defeated, the Board of Ed has a decision to make. We can go right to contingency, or we can go to a second vote. A contingent budget is adopted by the board after defeats by the community, and there are certain expenses that are removed from the budget. So what's remaining in the budget are those that are deemed absolutely necessary to operate and maintain the educational programs, preserve property, and ensure the health and safety of students and staff. So what items are removed from the budget? It's going to be non-contingent expenditures, which include student supplies, equipment, and community use of building. And there are certain other caveats that the budget being adopted cannot have a tax levy supporting it any higher than the prior year's tax levy, and that the administrative component cannot be any higher than the previous year. So the far right-hand column of this chart talks about the contingency budget, which would be a decrease of $1.3 million over the current year budget, going down 1.09%. So you can see how devastating that would be to be in contingency by having a budget that's less than the current year's budget. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, the tax levy that is currently going to go up 1.5% if approved would have to be flat to the current year's tax levy. I'm sorry, the previous approved tax levy, which was from actually that should be, I should correct that title, that should be 23-24 school year. I'm sorry about these headings have to be changed, but I'll take care of that before it's posted to the website. There will be a second proposition on the ballot, which is for the establishment of capital reserve. We're required to ask for voter approval to both establish and fund the reserve. The term of the capital reserve would be for 10 years, to be funded at not more than $3 million, up to $30 million over the 10-year period. And the thing that's important to know about this capital reserve is that if the district wants to spend from the reserve, we would have to go back to the voters to approve specific projects. So even though this money is on reserve, we have to come back out to the public, have a vote with specific spending plans, and have to have approval by the community. What's going to be potentially included are major system upgrades, which will be mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and as well as interior and exterior building renovations, in addition to whatever site work would be needed at the time. Things to note about having a capital reserve: these are monies that would be used instead of going out for borrowing. So the district would not incur future interest expense for whatever is being used from the capital reserve. So here's some just historical data, including the current draft of the budget. You can see that over the past 10 years, on average, a 0.84% increase in the tax levy. And the other thing I'd like to point out is that the district is appropriating $8.9 million to support the current draft of the budget, as well as the low tax levy increase. So we'll have a budget hearing on May 7th, which is a required meeting by New York State. We'll be going over some of this data, but not to the extent we have done in the past. And then the May 21st budget vote election in this building from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So at this point, if there are any questions from both the Board of Education, I'd be happy to try and answer.
Mr. Harrison, thank you for your presentation. All right, so this budget is supported by about almost $9 million from reserves.
That's correct.
And the year before, I think this was about just over 4?
Yes.
So even if, and we don't know at this point what's going to happen with the state, leave it up to them to leave it to last minute, leave us all hanging. But so even if that 3.4, if we were to get all of it back, and we put it back in reserves, we're still going to be supporting this budget more than we did last year.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Harrison. Just a question regarding the proposition of the capital reserve. We already have a capital reserve. Is the time running out on that? Is that the reason?
That's correct. We have another year on that.
Okay, so we definitely need to
Yes.
do this. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve, perhaps before the next meeting, when we present it to the public, can you put together a list of maybe the projects that we use that capital reserve money on the last 10 years?
Sure.
That fund paid for, that we didn't have to raise taxes to do?
Sure.
Thank you. Just so we can show the community how they benefit from it over the last 10 years.
All right, I want to thank Mr. Harrison, Dr. O'Rourke, and Dr. Bells and their offices for all their time and effort into putting this proposed budget together. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and that's all I have, Mr. Dorgan.
Thank you, Mr. Manzo. Thank you, Mr. Harrison, for the presentation. So I'm going to move on to 5.1. Be resolved that the Board of the East Islip Union Free School District Board of Education casts its vote in the annual election of members of the Board of Cooperative Educational Services for the following candidates: Arlene Parisi, Kelly Ann Jennings, Joseph Lascalvo, James F. McKenna, Brian O. Mealy, and Robert P. Sweeney. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oop, I was out of order. I apologize. I did 5.2, so I will go back to 5.1. Be it resolved that the Board of Education East Islip Union Free School District hereby approves the Eastern Suffolk BOCES administrative budget for the 2024-25 school year. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6.1, public comments on agenda items. Anybody? No? Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the memorandum of agreement dated March 7, 2024 between the East Islip Union Free School District and the East Islip Teachers Association per diem substitute unit. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7.2. Be resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints Dr. Randall Solomon as School Medical Inspector pursuant to Section 913 of the New York State Education Law to evaluate the fitness of tenured employee whose identity is known to the Board of Education to perform his or her duties, and be it further resolved that pursuant to the New York State Education Law Section 913, that a tenured employee whose identity is known to the Board of Education is hereby directed to report for a medical examination in the offices of Dr. Solomon at a date and time to be scheduled and noticed by the superintendent. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Certified personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves resignations, termination, leave of absences, position abolitions, employment, appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education and civil service law as cited in the certified personnel attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Non-certified personnel. Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves the resignations, termination, leave of absences, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education law and civil service law as cited in the non-certified personnel attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone need anything removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like 9:20 and 9:24.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rowland. So we're going to vote on 9.2 through 9.19, and in addition, we're skipping over 9.20. We're going to be voting additionally 9.21 through 9.23, skipping over 9.24, and additionally voting on 9.25 through 9.33. So now you have to repeat
Motion.
them again. Okay, motion.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
9.20, award of alternate to Byron and Son Irrigation for the district-wide toilet renovation, electrical upgrades, plumbing contract, as it's written. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Nine 9.24, change order number COHS P1, Brian and Son Irrigation, Inc., as written. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
10.1, donation from the Spotlight School Store. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education accepts a donation of $2,928.58 from the Spotlight School Store. This donation will be used to purchase 2 City Love seats to be placed in the main lobby of the middle school. The revenue code to be increased is A2705.000, and budget code to be increased is 2110-200-08-0000. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Appropriation changes for the 2023-24 school year. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approve the attached list of appropriation changes for the 23-24 school year. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Old business. Anyone have any old business? .1 field trip for the 11th and 12th grade students to I'm sorry, it's under new business. So the field trip for the 11th, 12th grade students to the Italy Spring 2025. Dr. Rourke?
Dr. Giuseppe Costa, high school Italian teacher, is proposing a trip to Italy for 11th and 12th grade Italian students. This will take place spring 2025. The trip is planned for April 10th through the 17th, 2025. It will take place during the spring break when classes are not in session.
Thank you, Dr. Rourke. Anyone else have any new business? No? Okay. Public comments, Stephanie? Nobody, okay, that's good. Sorry about that, folks. The next Board of Education regular business meeting and annual budget hearing will be held on Tuesday, May 7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.